I realized very early on, and I guess I'm giving out a secret right here on Rally. You used to DJ for Juice WRLD, and you sell the best chicken tenders I ever had. I'm never under the influence. So when people speak to me, you're talking directly to me. Nothing's hindering.
Stone sober.
Yeah. It built me up for this moment where I'm not afraid to be in front of 150,000 people at the biggest stage at Coachella.
From spinning tracks at high school proms in Chicago to taking the stage at festivals like Coachella, from humble local gigs to recognizing his value and elevating his career, he stood by Juice WRLD from the very beginning through every milestone until the very end. This is the story of Michael Pryor, also known as DJ Mike P, a creative entrepreneur who carved his own path. Leading the conversation is the host of To Dine For and Rally's Emmy Award-winning journalist, Kate Sullivan.
DJ Mike P, thanks for joining us on Rally. Great to see you today.
Great to see you as well.
I'm so interested by your story. I know that you've had quite a career trajectory. Take me back to where you grew up and how you grew up, and just were there any unwritten rules of your household as a kid?
So me growing up in Hyde Park, right on the south side of Chicago, across from where the now Obama Library is being almost finished now,
Yeah.
you know. It's a great experience, just being in the culture of Hyde Park, just living in I would say a very nice mixed area where you can see some things that may not, you know, that are kind of bad, but then you also see a lot of good, you know, and you're kind of by the lake and Museum of Science and Industry and stuff like that. So riding our bikes around and stuff like that with my siblings was a really great experience. Some unwritten rules in our family, just kind of growing up was just kind of like, you know, my mom was really big on like you being successful, but in your own way though. So I grew up with my brother and my sister who I'm the baby. So it was kind of like, I see what he's doing. I take a little bit of that, see what my sister's doing, take a little bit of that. And then here I am, you know, I'm kind of like the kid that's like, okay, I love music. I started out playing the drums. I played the African drums. I played percussions as well. And that's just kind of how I got my baby toes inside of the music world, which has literally blessed me and changed my whole life. So,
yeah, they say you can see the seeds of people's lives, right?
sure.
Like at the very beginning.
Listen,
and obviously
for sure.
you had a love of music.
Right.
But it developed pretty quickly into a viable DJ business
Yeah.
At a young age. Talk
Yeah.
to me, how did it get going?
So the crazy thing is I went to Urban Prep, which is also on the south side of Chicago. That was my high school. And their motto is "We Believe," right? And I would play music from iTunes, kind of like during the morning announcements. We would all get gathered together in the side of the gym. It would be like 1,000 young men there. It was all boys school, right? So we would be in there. I would play music from iTunes, just like as someone's walking up. So it wouldn't be boring, you know? And this is going to be a big part to when we bring it up to TV, right? When we talk about that piece. So I would literally play music on iTunes. I can't hear the next song like a real DJ setup. And they were like, man, Mike, we really believe in you. So over the summer, my junior year, they ended up buying me a small DJ controller. It was like $200 back then.
And who bought that for you?
The actual school did. So
Wow.
they slapped a school sticker on there. It was a part of their assets now. And they said, listen, we want you to utilize this and, you know, see if you can learn, you know, DJing techniques to make this experience better in the morning for our young men. So it's like 7:30 in the morning. You want to get kids hyped up and stuff like that. I started researching music. This was before I really had a DJ name, right? And literally like my junior year and senior year of high school, I literally was DJing our homecomings, DJing my prom, DJing other related events they had during the school year. So then it was to the point that my guys was like, my high school friends, my real name is Michael Pryor. They was like, we calling you Mike P. And it's like, it's not the biggest like, but now, man, when I run into these guys, you know, at the grocery store, something like that, different friends from high school, they're like, bro, I'm so proud of you, man. Like, you are the Mike P that we couldn't see when we were in high school because we were all young, kind of immature, you know, to say the least. But, you know, that was my way of really getting into DJing, was my school believing in me early on, giving me an actual DJ controller.
First of all, that's so remarkable.
Listen, that does not happen.
It doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen.
Somebody saw real talent in you.
Facts.
And had the gumption to actually put a tool in your hand to make you better.
Yes.
Right? So there's a lot of like really amazing things happening to you right there.
Exactly.
What was it about your school? What was it about the culture of that school? Like, if you could dig a little deeper.
So at Urban Prep, right? They're known. a lot of people may not know the name of the school, but they've seen these young men that wear blazers and ties, right? They wear red ties and blazers. It's kind of like a Fresh Prince episode, right? At least you can't flip your blazer inside out to make it look cooler. But, you know, at that school, it was a college-bound school. College preparatory school, college-bound, however you want to look at it. College. Every day we went there. College. You eating breakfast, hey, college. Lunch, hey, college. You going home, come back in the morning, remember, college.
Expectations high.
They tried to put it in us very hard. And, you know, once again, going back to the unwritten rule of my family, you know, it's just kind of being successful in your own way.
Right.
So what happened with me was I didn't go to college. You know, I went to Kennedy King for 2 semesters, and that was kind of like me pleasing my mom after high school, where like, hey, I don't want to bump heads with this person that's allowing me to still live here at 18. So let me do something. Let me go to a place that doesn't cost a lot of money. They also had radio broadcasting at Kennedy King. So that's kind of how we kind of played it with that. But just like at the school in general, they pushed college so much that for a person like me, I didn't really like school. I can be educated, but I just didn't like school outside of what was my norm from elementary and high school. I knew that this wasn't going to be a thing. I felt miserable sitting in the classroom being taught to by someone in a classroom full of 30, 40 kids, where it's like I can't be individually, how can I put it? I can't be individually taught because of how they have to teach this broad subject to all 30, 40 of us in here, right?
Gotcha.
So it was just kind of like, that was a challenge for me in a sense. And I said, hey, look, if I want to be successful, right? I just want to be the typical norm, just 9 to 5 type of guy. And I said, hey, I'm going to take this DJ thing serious, because they brought this controller and they brought some more speakers and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, they're really invested in me. And literally, you know, like I said, I was telling my mom this story about how, I DJed my prom, and I had a date with me. It was probably horrible for her, but I loved every moment of it, because this was huge. Like, they didn't have to get another DJ to do this. I'm able to, you know. You
were in your element. You were doing what you love, and you were good at it.
And the fact that too, like, when it all kind of clicked to me that, you know, just to answer your question, when it kind of clicked to me like, hey, you know, the culture of this school is going to help me be very successful, is by saying, okay, you guys are really committed to me going to college, but what if I showed you guys a different way of success? Because obviously you're thinking that if all the kids go to college, right, they'll be successful in some type of path, whether it's being a teacher, a doctor, a lawyer. I'm going to show you that I can hop into entrepreneurship, right, which is no real school. There's no college that says, we teach entrepreneurship, 4-year degree, you're going to get it. Right. You're going to be proud. Like, you know, so I'm like, okay, I have to research. I thank God for technology, YouTube, Google. We didn't have AI like that heavy back then, but if we did, I would probably be a even more bigger beast, you know what I'm saying, than people think I am. But just like, you know, me DJing my prom and them calling me down to the office a month before prom to say, hey, look, you know, we're thankful for the time that you've been here, man. We're going to miss you. You're a senior now. Like, you're one of those kids we're going to actually say, like, man, we miss having Mr. Pryor in our school, obviously, because I'm the one playing the music and doing all of this stuff. And they say, hey, look, take this Amex, sit over here at this computer. We want you to order everything that you're going to wear for prom, order it online. I'm ordering stuff from ASOS and London and stuff like that, right? I'm this young kid, and this is 2012, so I'm just kind of like, wow, I just spent possibly like $2,000, right? A mix of the black card that we rented for prom, my clothes, my date's clothes, and our cost of our ticket to go to prom. You add it all up, it's like $2,000, right? So I'm like, you know, you only go on prom once. So when I came back to DJ after high school, it's like, hey, we can pay you now. You become a vendor with our school network, our charter network. So now I get the $2,000 check instead of having, you know what I'm trying to say? And I'm like, wow, this is it.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about your really a career in DJing.
Yeah.
When you leave and you realize, you know, it's one thing when you're in high school to take gigs here and there, but then it's your job, right? You are traveling and you are making connections and you are really working hard at something that you want to be excellent at. What did you learn? What were in those early days, those first few years of DJing, what did you learn about entrepreneurship?
I learned that it's hard work, because literally I graduated in 2012. So let's just paint it and say like my freshman year of college was also then as well, right? So I had friends that went off to college. They're forcing themselves now to have to get up, right, for bills and be on time. But But also too on my end, I have to get up. I got to look at the traffic pattern. What is it going to look like on Saturday when I need to get to this event? I'm also literally doing the same things that they're doing in college to kind of become young adults. And that's kind of what I learned in the early stages of DJing.
Responsibility.
Yeah, it was just responsibility is everything. And when you're responsible and professional, you are accepted in front of anybody, any race, any class, any event that you think that, hey, I don't think I'm worthy of DJing this for this company yet. You know, I just started DJing 2 years ago. But when they see that you're reliable, professional, and you can get the job done, and now you take that off their plate where they don't have to worry about the music anymore. They just call Mike P. And we don't have to worry about the music. We can go on and worry about the color that we want to paint this wall. That is what I learned. I was like, hey, look, if I stick to these things right here, these core values that I can create and stick with it and get my 10,000 hours in, right, where you're just trying to learn your craft. And literally, that is just what I learned is like, don't go after the money. I was doing stuff for $100, $150, 4-hour events just because my reasoning was, you know, the money is going to come, right? I have a product that's great, that I think is great. But sometimes doing or utilizing your product in front of your peers or family, sometimes it helps you a lot to let you know like, hey, okay, this sounds good to them. But you also got to get in front of somebody who is going to pay you their hard-earned cash that they earned, right? And also someone who isn't your mom to say like, oh, that sounds good.
Right.
And then in the back, they're like, yeah, husband, I don't know. Mike
critic.
got to work on this DJ.
Yeah,
he can't mix those
critic.
two songs together. Please don't do it in public. So it's just like being able to say like, hey, look, I have a phone bill now. My mom, that was my responsibility, right? When I graduated high school. Hey, your phone bill with AT&T is $50. $50 a month. Okay, cool. I'm going to DJ stuff for $100, $150. I know I pay for that. I have a little bit of money for the gas, get me a car, stuff like that. So that was my theory, was just like, man, let me put myself out there. I'm at a level right now where I'm still new in the DJ game, where I'm not undercutting other guys, you know, who have been in this for years. It's like, oh, look at this kid coming in.
When did you know your worth?
I knew my worth.
Yeah. When did you ask for what you really felt like you were worth? Because that takes not only does it take experience, but it also takes courage and gumption.
Yeah. So I don't want to scare anybody in here, but January 17th, 2015. Okay, I'm just joking. But listen, in January though, for real, 2015, I really knew my worth. I had DJ'd on a platform called Ustream, which was 2015, and now you're bringing back streaming services with these big streamers now like Constantnat and all these other guys. I was on there just DJing, and Twitter was a platform that was still growing, and some kind of way I posted a link like, hey, if you want to hear me DJ, I'm on here. So think of it as like online radio, no talking, me DJing for an hour. At that point in time, maybe like 2 weeks after that, I got like 150,000 views in one night, right?
Wow. And
I don't even think that Ustream is a platform anymore. I don't think it is, but it's just like when I hit those type of numbers, and then I start realizing like, now I'm getting called by CPS to come DJ at high schools because a lot of the kids who were viewing it, it was a snowstorm that week in 2015. And they were home. So I'm like, okay, cool. So at that moment, I realized like, no more $150 gigs and stuff like that. I want to move out of my mom's house. When you start having those like, okay, I want more responsibility.
Yes.
I want to live a different lifestyle now. That is when I said, hey, look, let me ask for my worth. I think I've been pretty good at what I do. I'm very professional, very reliable. People love my product. They love me DJing in a sense, right? And literally, the first time I asked for what I really wanted, it was like a prom. I think I wanted like $2,500, right, for this prom. Even though I was getting good money with Urban Prep, you know what I'm saying?
And what did they say when you said it?
They were like, yeah, that's fine.
And
that's
what
fine.
did you think when you?
I couldn't believe it when I got when they told me that. I'm like, we'll see when they give me this check, right? It's CPS. No, but I just got the check in the mail, and I was like, damn, like, you know. Okay.
I am worth that. I am worth that.
I can pay some rent with this.
Right.
I can get in a better car out this hoopty with this. And that is literally what happened in 2015.
And was that a game changer or what?
Man, it was such a game changing moment just because like, you know, outside of the money being a factor, you know, but it's just kind of like, man, someone's willing to pay me this.
The acknowledgement of the talent.
It's like, they trust me enough to pay me this.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting paid what the other guys are getting paid now in the same field that I'm in.
Yes.
And what I also learned too was, hey, take some of that. Yes, enjoy it. Go get you some dinner. But take some of that, reinvest it back in myself. Outside of just trying to move out my mom's crib, I got better equipment. more professional equipment that I know guaranteed when I'm DJing, it's not gonna go out on me. Let's upgrade my MacBook's RAM or storage memory or anything like that. So it was just kind of always being able to reinvest some of that money back into the brand. And then you start talking about building your brand, you know, merch and stuff like that. So that's
and
where we were.
it puts you in a different strata.
Right.
Then all of a sudden you're around other DJs that are making that kind of money, and then you're learning more, right? You're
Exactly.
talking. You became friends with Juice WRLD, who was an international phenomenon. Can you talk a little bit about your friendship with him and what it meant to you?
Yeah, so Juice was a very good friend of mine, and it sounds crazy because he's a very good friend of mine. We were very close, but I only knew this kid for a year and 12 months, and literally it felt like, you know, when we kind of first met, right? It's like, okay, I get a call from his management, Little Bibby. He's like, hey, I got this artist. He's got a song. It's going to be on the radio. I want you to DJ for him. I trust you with this kid. I think this would be cool. Cool. We started traveling around DJing. The first gig is in, I believe it was in San Diego, and it was at a festival, 60 people outside. He's the first person up on the lineup. And I'm like, okay, we'll see where this goes, right? Cool. Literally the next, maybe 2 weeks later, we do a show in New Jersey. It's 2,000 kids in this sweat box of a venue. And then when I walk out there, I'm like, oh, okay. So it's like, you know, just being able to experience his early stage of his career was amazing. But even us being friends, man, it was just kind of like, you know, we would pray, we would talk about things. Because honestly, when we saw each other, it went from kind of being like once a month to like every weekend now, because we're doing so much. Now we're on tours where we're all sleeping on the same tour bus. So now it's like we live together now. You know, we literally, I'm not lying, we literally lived in Europe doing the Nicki Minaj tour. He was opening up for her on that tour. We were living on a tour bus for 2.5 months, and then came off that tour, had 2 weeks to wait, and went on a US tour and lived on a tour bus as well for probably about 3 more months after that.
What's it like to DJ proms and gigs locally, and then obviously start to know your worth, then DJ at some of the best events, Nicki Minaj, and you're friends with Juice WRLD, who is one of the best known DJs at the time of all time. What was that like for you from a mindset place? So
for me, it was kind of like, you know, you're doing these local high school gyms, right? And then literally, you know, Juice as an artist, he's so big now that it's like, wow, you know, he's outperforming, and I'm literally DJing with him, and we're at Coachella. And it's like, how do we get here?
Yes.
But then you know, you blink your eye and it feel like you got there fast, but then you really stop and you analyze things and you say, okay, I knew the steps that we had to take to get here. Me putting my 10,000 hours in back in 2012 to 2015, it built me up for this moment where I'm not afraid to be in front of 150,000 people at the biggest stage at Coachella. And it also taught us 2 different things about, you know, technical issues that go on at these different places, because literally, you know, high school gym, you're bringing your own speakers and stuff like that. So if something go wrong, someone might pee. Like, it's my fault. But at Coachella, it's 10,000 people that work here in the middle of this desert.
Did that happen?
It did. So, you know, you do Coachella. Well, not every artist does it 2 weekends and back to back, but he did 2 weekends on the main stage. The first weekend was absolutely horrible. We got out there. We couldn't hear anything. We couldn't hear the crowd in our in-ear monitors and stuff. So it was just absolutely bad. But we got through it. We made it through. We spent the week in LA. We hit the studio. And we just had a lot of practice rehearsals. And we came back the next weekend. And we created a fail-proof plan of like, hey, look, we're going to hit our target. We're not going to try to go above it. We're just going to hit our target. So that way, if we know we go back that the speaker system isn't working again and all of this stuff, this is an opportunity we may not get again. And we haven't got it again, obviously, because he passed away. But it's just kind of like, you know, us being able to go back and say, look, this didn't work and it wasn't our fault. But let's just make sure when we go back, you know, it just taught us so much stuff. And our friendship really grew from there, because we're experiencing good and bad together.
Yeah, you're in the trenches
together.
together.
He's his multi-million-dollar rapper, and I'm just his DJ. But at the same time, you know, he's paying me my worth. He's taking care of, you know what I'm saying, just our flights and stuff like that. It's just stuff I didn't have to lift a finger except my bag just to get in and off of a plane. You know what I'm saying?
We see so many stories of how fame changes people and of how success really changes people. How did you stay what you appear to be so grounded going from that to that?
So, you know, it's going back to like my family. My family's big on like our religion and our beliefs and stuff like that. So them putting that in me at a young age, it really stuck with me. So if we're going,
explain.
I would say, you know, even just being younger in elementary school, you know, if everybody's doing something that's is bad, I'm not doing it. Like me, I don't do drugs. I don't drink. And it's nothing against it or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? It's just not my cup of tea, honestly speaking, you know? And it's just kind of like, I think that being able to have a mindset that no matter, I'm never under the influence. So when people speak to me, you're talking directly to me. Nothing's hindering.
Stone sober.
Yeah, nothing's hindering my conversation with you or affecting my ability to think strategically about what's going on in front of me, whether it's good or bad. So I think that just kind of being with me, it helped me stay really grounded because, you know, even with Juice passing away from doing drugs, you know what I'm saying? Literally, I was around that, but I also, it was so much respect on my name that he wouldn't do that in front of me. You know what I'm trying to say? But also, too, I knew him as this big multi-million-dollar artist, but I also knew a different person that was just Jared Higgins, you know what I'm saying? That's his real name. And he's a sweet little kid from the south suburbs of Chicago looking to make it out and all of this stuff. And, you know, he want to take care of his mom and his family, and he's looking for love with girls. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. This is who I met, you know, and that's what his music was about, all of these things that I just mentioned. So that's where we were, you know?
It sounds like you guys were great friends. So when he did pass away, tragically, at the hands of drugs, how did that impact you?
You know, it was crazy. At the time, I was living in D.C., so he passed away at Midway, right, on the private jet side, and I was flying out of Midway maybe like an hour and a half before then. So it's kind of like I'm on my flight, and he's honestly passing away as I'm landing in D.C., but the information doesn't get out until about maybe like, I really don't know, but maybe like I say like 7, 8 a.m. that morning, right? And it's just kind of like I'm in DC because I'm pursuing this young lady who's now my wife, and you know, now my baby mother, you know what I'm saying? She's pregnant now and stuff like that. So, you know, this is who I was pursuing at the time that made me be in DC, right? So I'm out there, I wake up to a bunch of different calls from different people. My pastor's calling me, my mom's calling me, my sister and my brother. So I'm trying to be like, okay, the people I care about, and my girl at the time, okay, she's here. I'm like, okay, these people are not dead. So what's going on? You know what I'm saying? That these people are calling me consistently, you know, 10, 14 times. And then just being able to swipe up your phone and Instagram app is already open. And you just see the infamous TMZ picture, right? And it's just kind of like, it really tore me up. I cried a lot because I never really dealt with death in a sense. Even living in Chicago and the things that go on here, I've been grateful that I haven't experienced that a lot with my friends and just different peers that I have, you know, in the industry. But when that happened, I tried to go to church that day, and I got to the church, man, and they prayed for me. And I literally left with my girl, and it just was kind of like, it was a lot, you know. And literally, I remember taking that time, and just to paint you a picture, you know, something like this can break people. Like, I mean, when I say break people, I mean literally it can break you. So I was doing the Jam, the TV show, right? And I said, hey, I'm gonna step away from TV and radio at one time. No DJ in Chicago was doing TV and radio at one time. Literally doing this in the morning and doing this at night. I stepped away from both of those to be with this artist because I believed in him. And I'm like, hey, this is a pretty sweet gig. He's blowing up. And then for him to kind of pass away tragically like how it happened overnight. And we were just in Australia for 2 weeks. We spent Thanksgiving together out there having different events and gigs and stuff like that. So for this all to happen, right? It's like, wow, that's December 2019. And then you speed it up and you say, okay, I'm grieving, right? But then March 2020, right?
It's coming.
The entire world changed.
Shuts down.
And they kicked it off with Pritzker saying, you guys are in those clubs spreading COVID-19. We were the first industry, I feel like, to really get like, they shut down the bars and stuff like that because it was too much close contact. And I get it, you know, safety first. But literally, I thank God that we had All-Star Weekend. From a financial standpoint, I was able to make so much money in that that entire week. You know, we made so much money as DJ Mike P that I was able to kind of sustain myself throughout COVID, you know, kicking it off. But, you know, dealing with that, his death was crazy because his death happened. The world shuts down. It's a lot going on. It's just, I'm living in DC. Now I got to figure out how to get back to Chicago because if I need to survive, I need to get back to a place that I can call home, that people know me, they can book me to DJ, whether it's virtually proms or whatever. I need to get back over there to Chicago. You know?
And you do really a big pivot, right?
Crazy pivot.
And part of it it sounds like was because of the death of your friend, but part of it was necessity because of COVID. Am I correct in that?
Exactly. Mix of both.
And tell us about your pivot, which is a real dramatic pivot. What do you pivot to?
So I do a crazy pivot, right? So from 2020 to 2023, right? I'm literally DJing again like a maniac, like I'm back in 2015 trying to move out my mom's house. And like, it was a great experience because my love for music and love for DJing, it helped me as a coping mechanism with Juice's death. Because it's like, okay, look, I was with Juice because I love music, I love DJing, being in front of different crowds and different people around the world, around the globe, you know. Cool, I'm doing the same thing, not on this big scale, but I'm back home in Chicago. Everyone's missed me that haven't seen me in Chicago. Mike, it's good. Man, I heard you DJ, man, in so long, So I'm getting all these accolades, everything's smooth, and literally 2023, I opened up a restaurant called Chicken Box, right? Downtown Chicago. And
okay, let's stop there.
Okay, got you.
Talk about the premise of Chicken Box.
Got you. So the premise of Chicken Box was literally, when I traveled around the world with Juice, right? I eat like a kid. I have no taste buds. That's another big part of drinking and smoking. Like, I can't do too many combinations of too many seasonings and different things. So with me, you know, my wife, she would always make me chicken tenders and fries or chicken wings and fries at the crib. And I'm like, yo, I could sell this because Mike P is this brand from TV and radio. He's also this brand from Juice WRLD. He's also a brand from kids who were in high school when I was doing the whole Ustream thing. So all of these people collectively, you know, if I open up a restaurant, they should want to come at least try it one time, you know, and that's exactly what we did. Was we opened up the restaurant, the brick and mortar at first, right? Downtown, 400 South Financial Place, 400 square feet. This place was probably about as big as a closet.
400 square feet.
Listen, 400 square feet. And when I tell you I maximize everything that you can do with 400 square feet, I literally, we had any wall in there you can come in and sign as you wait for your food to get cooked. And we just served chicken tenders and fries, right? And I put in a green shoebox because I love sneakers. I'm a pretty fly guy, you know, if I could say myself. But I love sneaker culture. And I'm like, man, I love chicken tenders. I love sneakers. These are two things that are true to me. People tend to open up businesses that have nothing to do with them. You're selling donuts and no one knows that you know anything about donuts, right? So people knew Mike only eats chicken. His taste buds are crazy. He puts it on Instagram.
So it's very much you.
Yeah, I'm eating tacos brand. With ketchup. Like, I'm just a simple guy that it's kind of weird with my taste buds, but this is what I wanted to do, and it ended up being absolutely successful. Where we had all of these signatures over the wall and stuff like that, and we created this experience for kids on TikTok to want to come down to the store and sign a wall, eat the chicken tenders out of the green shoebox, drink the green juice that's named after me. It's called Peasy Juice, right? So we did all of this stuff, and then I unlocked a whole new level and connected it with music by saying, man, okay, I shut down the store at 8 p.m. every day, right? I want DJs to come in here and do a set inside of the store. We're not going to invite people in. It's not like a club. I can't do that with my City of Chicago license. You know how things get, right? But I'm like, man, I just want to record their set, and a key part of it where they mix a crazy song, Aretha Franklin with something new or something like that. I'll post that to Instagram. I'll collab with them on that post and tag them. That way they get exposure for those who may not know these DJs. Like we talked about One Chance and Oreo and stuff like that. Let me try to help other DJs because I'm not DJing right now. I'm just doing Chicken Box because it's so successful and it's so time consuming having a restaurant. Let me do this. I literally did that. Man, you had DJs getting gigs after gig after gig because my clients are like, hey, we want Mike, but I also take this guy because he seems to be good, and they work, and they're still working with them now. You know, here we are 3 years later.
Well, it's like you're creating a whole ecosystem of DJs
with 400
and
square feet.
That's amazing.
So that's what we did with Chicken Box. And now we no longer have that brick and mortar, but we have
food trucks.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Literally,
right?
Food trucks.
Yeah.
If you're opening a restaurant, which camera am I looking at? If you're opening a restaurant, food truck first, please. Because
really,
you're able
why?
to go to the people. I can go to this festival. I can go to Lollapalooza. I can, you know, we literally had a store at 400 South Financial Place, and Lollapalooza was maybe what? 3 miles down the street at the big park, right? And it's just kind of like the hotels were all by me, but we saw no success with people coming after Lollapalooza, whether they're intoxicated or not, looking to get chicken tenders from us. And I get it, we're not a big brand name like the other guys, you know, but it just was the fact that I'm like, man, but now if I park my truck at Lollapalooza inside, I can be a vendor. I can be now. You know, it's like airport. You got to eat the food in here. You can't leave out to go do anything. So, you know, and once you try it one time, you love the product. It's good. You're going to come back on your own. It's no gimmick.
Now, can you DJ on the top of the food truck?
Hey, listen. So we want that, right? But I've thought of ways of maybe like getting a bigger truck and maybe 75% of it be in the kitchen. We create another little pocket of a window where I can DJ out of it. But we are trying to put the two together on the truck. Basically the same experience inside of 400 square feet place, right? We're trying to do that on this truck now. So we are thinking about different ways to include it. But right now we're literally sticking to the tenders because it is such a big thing right now on TikTok with the high schools and elementary schools right now. It's absolutely nuts.
You know, listening to your story, you're such a creative, but you're also very entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
Do you think that came from within, or do you think that was taught? Because it seems to me like you were just a naturally entrepreneurial person, but I'm curious to see what you would say.
You know, I think about that a lot, honestly. You know, like, man, did someone put this in me? Or, you know, it's like my father, he wasn't really in my life like that. And it was kind of like, so I can't say I got anything from him over there, right? But then my mom, she's big in early childhood development. So it's kind of like, you know, it's like maybe, but she's big on school though, right? So me not doing school, it didn't break her heart, but it was kind of like us, you know, like, like, well, here we go. I got this last kid, see what's going on with him.
But let's let the way you began this whole conversation.
It worked out so crazy where it's like, hey, you wanted me to be successful in my own way.
Right.
I found my own way to do it.
Yes.
So I think that like a lot of it maybe has to do with just like me being a good person. I have relationships with people that's like crazy, and I'm in my 30s now, and it's just like, you know, these are like, you know, I'm going to some of these high schools now because my old teacher is now the principal at this school, but I never burned a bridge with this lady. You know what I'm saying? So it's like little stuff like that. I think it has helped me grow further, but also too, me just being hungry, where it's like, it's a difference between being like a hustler and being hungry about what your craft is. And I would say it's just kind of like the difference that makes it is just kind of like, you know, it's about how bad you want it, but you're also not willing to kind of like, you know, your limits though, you know the line. So I was doing stuff for $100 and $150, but at some point in time, it's like, okay, I'm not really that hungry and hustling no more. I want to be more stable. So it's like, you got to know when to switch gears like a car, you know what I'm saying?
You bring up a great point, because it's almost like, tell me if you agree with this, it's almost like hustling is just doing it for the sake of making money.
Yeah.
Where hunger is really wanting to get better at what you're doing.
You want that, it's that passion.
Yes.
And I tell kids, even like they ask me, man, Mike, I'm trying to get into DJing, man. Like, well, you know that. And they're like freshmen in high school, and I'm like, man, hey, test it out first. See if it's your passion. Technology nowadays, you can literally DJ online for free. And that wasn't a thing back then. You had to like spend money to get into this craft, you know what I'm saying? And it's just kind of like, hey, if it's a passion for you, just like, you know, those star high school basketball players, when they got the college recruits coming out, hey, let's kind of focus on this guy. Let's get him, you know what I'm saying? Let's get him some more skill sets and stuff like that, you know, when he's out on that court, because, hey, we might have a shot with this guy. And literally, people being able to see that, like Urban Prep buying that equipment for me, they saw it early on. So, you know, it kind of clicks with you, and you kind of go with the motions where you're like, hey, I want to be an entrepreneur. Let me find my passion. Then, okay, how are people that are not my peers, how are they receiving to this?
Yes.
They approve of it?
Yes.
Cool, we're good. So now
Testing it
you
out.
keep going. Then you'll hit the levels that you need to hit. And that's just kind of what happened with me.
And I feel like exposure is really important, and being
Huge.
and letting people see you. I think of the DJ Nice
Yeah.
and how he gets on Insta. I mean, he doesn't need to do this, but he gets on Instagram when he's doing a set, and he just leaves it up for hours. You can listen to his DJ set, and he's getting paid at some really fancy place.
Exactly.
But he does that for a reason. He not only democratizes who can listen to him, right? But he also keeps you first of mind. Oh yeah, he is a DJ. Oh yeah, he is good. And here I am again and again and again. It's marketing, right?
It's crazy marketing, and like you said, the exposure is the biggest piece, and that's what we're kind of doing now. Even with Chicken Box, like, so I went from Michael Pryor, right, elementary and high school, and then to last 2 years of high school, Mike P, and then graduated from there, DJ Mike P, and then opened up Chicken Box, and then it's like, okay, that's Mike P's restaurant. To now, when these little kids see me, they don't even know that I'm a DJ. They just know that he's the chicken tender man. That's what they call me now.
Wow.
And it's like, okay, cool. I take the Mike P hat and I put on the chicken tender man hat and I tuck it real nice and I serve these kids on a food truck, you know, sometimes. And it's like being able to do that and it's a humbling experience because some people are like, no, my name's Mike P and I've done this, that, and the third. I did Coachella. And it's like, all of that is cool. But now what we're trying to do is we're trying to bring it all together.
Yes.
So that way these younger kids who didn't experience Juice WRLD, they were too young. They didn't experience all of these different things that I might have done. They didn't know about the Jam TV show. They were just little babies or something. So now it's just like, once they learn about me though, it's crazy. They're like, oh, you used to DJ for Juice WRLD and you sell the best chicken tenders I ever had? Man. But now we kind of bring you into this more like experience of like Mike P, where it's a brand where it's a trusted brand and we're becoming like a household name where it's like, okay, yeah, you're eating his product and maybe you dance to his music, but you can also look up to this kid after this interview and say like, man, I learned something that I didn't know, but I'm going to take what he kind of, his accolades or maybe just like the different knowledge and stuff like that I have, and they can and put that into their own life in their own way. Maybe they not want to be DJs. They might not want to be owners of a restaurant or something like that. But whatever they doing in life, all of this stuff is pretty much universal.
Yeah.
You got to have that hunger. You got to have that passion.
Right. And that comes from within, and that
Exactly.
obviously comes from you. You had some lucky things happen to you. I think the school you went to,
Yep.
your mom being the amazing person that
Exactly.
she is, and what she taught you, that was
Yep.
luck, right? But then also people who saw talent in you. But then it was your ability to grind and your ability to put in the hours, to put in the work.
Yep.
If without that, none of this would have happened.
None of it at all. And it's funny. I think back like, I've literally done so much stuff. I've been an audio engineer at a church between that 2012 and 2015, me trying to just put in time, anything that was music related. And that's why I try to tell like a lot of the people that I speak to when they ask me for advice or something, I'm like, man, whatever you think your passion is, you want to be able to find some type of job, even if it's not a high paying thing or something like that, but you want to stick to that field. Because when you don't stick to that field, and let's say like you want to open up a restaurant and stuff like that, right? But you're in culinary school or you're not in culinary school, you should be working at a restaurant, even if you're just busting down suds on the dishes. But when you're busting down suds, you're able to see where they may be wasting products. So when you open up your restaurant, hey, I'm gonna do this differently. Or now I know how to turn on a fryer. You still have to get in that field and literally learn every single little thing, right? You want to be a reporter. Okay, you don't know that, hey, they got to set up their own lapel mic sometimes. So you got to know, that used to kill me with the gym. And that's why I let this guy do it today. It used to give me, I was like, flip it around. No, Mike, the other way. Okay, I got you. But it's these little things that like, if you're not in that field to know or to see or to hear,
Yes.
you'll have a very slow growth. And YouTube can teach you some things, honestly speaking, but to be able to be in that environment and physically touch things, so them buying me that controller, I can't tell you that I was the greatest at that controller the first 30 days. I wasn't, what I'm saying? But they knew that this was a new thing for me,
Yeah,
and
you
he's
were
not on
learning.
iTunes no more, But after that, I played with it. They
Yeah.
allowed me to take it home. It felt like it was mine.
Yes.
So I took care of it as
Yes.
well. You know what I'm trying to say? I didn't let it get damaged. I wanted to make sure it worked and it was charged up and it had everything it needed, software updates, whatever. But if you're not able to get in that field and touch it, you're going to have a very slow growth where you're going to be always looking up, wishing coulda, woulda, been But like I said, even if you start out busting suds or being a janitor at the restaurant or whatever the case may be, you'll eventually get there.
Why do you think you were a really good DJ? Because there are a lot of DJs out there, right?
Yeah. I think the thing that made me a really good DJ, honestly speaking, I played music that was true to me, right? I didn't tap into a lot of different genres. I'm an African-American young black man from the south side of Chicago. So I played a lot of hip hop, played a lot of R&B, and I played songs. The thing with my DJing style, I'm not afraid to play anything. A lot of DJs are scared to play certain songs and stuff like that. It's not necessarily like profanity or anything like that. It's just more so like, oh, this is from 2006. I don't want to make the client mad by playing something old, But this is the thing though. I've realized very early on, and I guess I'm giving out a secret right here on Rally, what has made me so successful with DJing. This is crazy. Someone's going to take it and run off with it and be better than me. But no, listen. The thing that has been very, very, very successful for me and made me set aside from the other DJs in the industry, because it is a lot. It is a lot now. COVID birthed so many DJs now because they just had time on their hands, right? But what made me successful was this. I play music that I like, and when I spin, I look up and people are like, they like the music too. The thing that I realized one day was that, okay, they like this music because it reminded them of happy times. We live in a crazy world now, not to get into politics or nothing like that at all, but just even thinking about COVID times. You didn't know when they were going to open back up the world, and it happened like overnight.
Yes, it did.
Then they would open up the world. Oh, no. We hit a certain percentage with the COVID numbers. Shut it back down again. And then you're like, back in the house,
Yeah.
you know? And it's just kind of like, you don't know, but you do know what you were doing in 2002 when this certain song came out.
Yep.
The world was a different place. We were living in different times. You knew what you were doing in 2010 when this came out, right? Or it reminded you of someone that may have passed away, but it's not a sad moment. It's more of a happy moment because it's like, man, man, I forgot about this song. And now when you get home or you get in your car, leaving the club or wherever you may have heard me spin at, Apple Music, downloading that T-Pain song because like, man, I forgot about this gem. So I think that I focused on what I like to call gold songs. These are songs that are tested, tried and true. And I know they work. And also too, me being in radio, me being in radio and TV actually really, it's kind of funny because it all comes together with me doing those two things at the same time, because people look at radio and say, well, why do they play all the same songs all at the same time? And it's just kind of like, you want songs that are familiar with people, you know, that are just memorable, good memories.
Well, what I'm hearing you say is not only that you play songs that you love, that are tried and true, that are gold songs, but you said something that I think was gold, and that is that you looked up and you saw the reaction people were giving you.
What I'm doing is affecting them.
Yeah, it's a two-way street.
They could have had a terrible day.
Yes, it's
but they claimed to something that I was DJing at. Probably still feeling terrible, and they're still gonna have to make another decision when they leave out of here.
Yeah.
But for this 3 or 4 hour DJ set, I'm gonna relieve. I'm like your therapist right now.
Yeah.
Whether we're in a club or we're at Lollapalooza, we're at Coachella, whatever it may be.
Right.
For this time frame, you're gonna say, "Man, I had an awesome time," and you're gonna say, "What? It was because Mike P was playing." Now, let me follow him.
Right.
I want to see where he's going next.
You were creating an emotion.
Yes. What's the next place he's going to?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I follow DJ Mike P, right? Oh, he's selling chicken tenders? Everybody likes chicken tenders. You know what I'm saying? I don't know too many that don't. But now that supporter from hearing me DJ is now tied into Chicken Box. And they came one time, they liked it. They came back again.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like, you're doing something really powerful, and that is that any business owner can or cannot do, and that is actually listen to your customers.
Exactly.
And then respond accordingly. If no one's dancing, you got to change the song.
You got to figure it out.
Yeah, you got to figure
it out quick, and you can't be scared to figure it out. You got to have, I hate to use this gun reference, but I always have many bullets in my chamber when I'm DJing, right?
Yes.
So I have one in the head that I'm about to shoot now, and I think that this is going to be a big song. And this has happened to me sometimes, right? Where you're like, okay, I'm going to get him with this one. Shoot it. Missed the target. They didn't really, not like it, but it didn't give me the reaction that I wanted.
Yes.
But, okay, I got one more bullet. I'm going to try this one again. Let's do it. Okay, that worked. Okay, now I know, okay, I can put the gun down now, and I can just stay right here, stay in this mode. So if they're rocking with the house music here, okay, cool. I'm gonna stick to this genre.
Yes.
And we're gonna have a good time and go from there.
You could say archery. You could say in your quiver.
Exactly.
It's the same idea.
Exactly.
What have you learned about? What parallels have you learned about from DJ to these chicken restaurants you've got, mobile chicken restaurants you've got going? Where is the through line for you as a business owner? What have you learned from one that's transferred over? Yeah,
so I think what I've learned from just being like from DJing to the food trucks and even the restaurant that we had is just kind of like, you want to. It's all about pleasing the people. If you're trying to get into the restaurant industry, like you have to be able to please people. They can be absolutely wrong, but it's okay. You have to plan for it and say, hey, look, this is fine. We're going to work through these kinks and stuff like that. So it's just kind of like with DJing, people think you just get up there and press play.
Right.
But it's a million other things that go into it. You have to be there an hour ahead of time to set up for this wedding. And then the bride wants you to do cocktail hour 300 feet that way. So you have to put speakers over there and another DJ setup. So it's knowing all of these things, you know what I'm saying, and research. And that's what the crossover was for me, was just kind of like pleasing people, right? So I'm a good DJ. People like me DJing. They see my name on a flyer. They're going to buy tickets. It's going to be a great thing. So people pleasing. I got to make sure that our product that we're selling at Chicken Box is fire. You know, that we have options for multiple different people. You don't like spicy sauce? Cool. I have a regular barbecue sauce for you. If you like overly spicy stuff, I have this option for you. You know what I'm saying? And in between people. And then the other part is big, is just research.
What's next for you? What is your vision? Because you seem like an idea guy. You seem like someone who's always thinking. So,
you know what's crazy? I think what's next for me is I'm about to be a dad as in September, right?
Congratulations.
And I appreciate that. And it's just kind of like, I think that I want to put all my brands on autopilot. I think that I've worked directly with them hard enough that I can do that. And I have very simple concepts that have big impacts. Mm-hmm. Some people have a concept that doesn't have a big impact, right? So my simple concept with a huge impact is absolutely game changing. You know what I'm saying? I think that what's next for me is literally, I want to kind of change the world by getting into mentoring and just kind of teaching other young kids like, hey, there's other options than the traditional norm, because the world right now is in no way traditional. Mm-hmm. Things that used to be, you can't believe this store is no longer there. And you're like, wow, they closed, you know, but it's just not, you know, just giving them success in a different light and saying, hey, look, it's okay to be a cool DJ and then put on this uniform and be a chicken, you know, a owner of a Chicken Box. You know what I'm saying? As long as you stay the same person, keep the same personality and the same core values, you'll be successful in both.
Yeah. Well, you are a true role model.
I appreciate
you
that.
are, and you're somebody who's not only talking it,
Don't
you're
make
living
me cry.
it.
Don't
you
make
are
me cry.
living
No,
it.
I appreciate you so much.
So the fact that you said that what's next for you, or your ultimate vision, is to mentor,
yep.
you couldn't have said anything more admirable. Yeah. So wonderful to talk to you today. Thank you very much.
I appreciate you so much.